Hi guys.
Yes. Are you at the coffee shop right now?
No, I'm at my house. This is,
Oh,
my background. Little
LA.
LA living right here.
That's what I love. I've had a few LA calls recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll
Must
do
be
it right.
tough.
I also have a 2-year-old crying in my house, so it's like you take the office you get kind of
Yeah, yeah,
situation.
fair enough. All right, Drew, so you lead and manage social strategy and content across Base's official channels, and you're also the proposer and I guess founder. I'm not sure what the right word to use of Nouns Coffee. Did I get that right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
myself and Derek Taylor, who's a long on-chain native head, created Noun Coffee, which is a new coffee shop in LA, proposed to Nouns DAO, funded by Nouns DAO, and taking payments on-chain.
Love it. Well, I'd like to start because at maybe the beginning of your journey into this space, because I think I first came in touch with you in the FWB Discord, where
Sure.
your uh, vocal and excitement about NFTs, I think, really led you to stand out there amongst many other things. And you sort of gone from uh, community member to somebody that's playing a very active role in the crypto ecosystem and a proposer and launching a project in and of itself. So I'm curious, maybe for folks who are listening to this, who are just becoming aware of crypto and want to kind of start their career here, what were some of like the lessons, tips, or actions you took in your early days that have kind of led to where you are today?
Sure, that's an interesting question. I mean, and to clarify, I am relatively new. I'm not a crypto old head. Like I got into the space while everyone was baking sourdough bread in 2020 during that COVID lockdown. And a lot of my Twitter mutuals were some of the first artists who created NFTs on Foundation, now Rodeo, Zora, those different platforms. And at that time, it was just really empowering to see creators making money from art. And one of the things that like really made me feel like I wanted to get invested in this space is just the sheer ability to have like full ownership over what you do. And like that's still why I care very much about the base app today. It's why I get frustrated with the centralized social platforms that we have. It's really cool to see people being able to just like own their presence. And I think that's always something that's possible. That's what I did. I joined FWB. I'd never heard of FWB. For people who don't know what FWB is, it's a DAO that at the time in 2021, 2022 was a private Discord that you interviewed, applied for, bought some tokens, and you got in. And I met some incredible friends, Derek, who I run now Coffee with. I met through FWB Discord chat. So very thankful for that. And I still feel like that ethos is very true, that you can just show up and you can start talking and you can make contributions, make things, support things, share things that matter to you, and you will be able to have a presence in the space that matters. Yeah, so very, very thankful. It was like a very life-changing experience to be a part of this ecosystem in 2021, and I still feel like there's lots of opportunities to do the same in 2025.
Oh, you're
I
muted
really want
again.
to jump to ask you about base pay. Base pay was kind of a
Sure.
sleeper
Yeah,
announcement in the base event, and
totally.
I feel like I haven't seen it talked about so much on the timeline. I haven't used it personally, but I'm super curious. Tie up with Shopify. That's a really big deal. Are people using it? Is it integrated widely already? And what impact is it having?
Yeah, I am super excited about base pay. As somebody who believes that we need to make crypto payments feel less scary, one of the easiest ways to do that is to see an easy way to pay with crypto that has good incentives. And from what I understand, it's rolling out slowly to different Shopify stores, but it'll continue rolling out. I saw Autonomous, which makes standing desks, now supports base pay. And a really cool thing in that example is that the 3% fee that would typically be taken by the credit cards just gets passed on as a discount if you use base pay. So you just get a 3% discount on your standing desk if you choose base pay. Erewhon also uses base pay. So if you want to go and buy some really good Erewhon merch and get it shipped anywhere around the country, you can have a nice base pay transaction there. And I've seen people start to spin up non-Shopify versions of base pay as well. It seems like I was looking last night at the documentation. It seems like we're building that out pretty well to make it easy for anybody to integrate in their website. And I think it's a big thing because that experience of buying with crypto online or in person has always been a little challenging. The way that I always say is you kind of only get like one "what is this" moment, and in crypto there was like 3 or 4 "what is this" moments, and with base pay it's kind of reduced down to 0. Base pay feels like Shopify Pay, feels like Apple Pay. If you already are in the system a little bit and you have some USDC, you're good to go and you can start paying with it. I think that feels huge.
Is that more targeting people who are outside of the US? I mean, I would imagine people with credit cards, especially if they have USD in their bank account, are pretty okay using their credit card. So who do you think is going to use base pay the most? And is it for an international audience, for example?
I think it's a mix of both. I get a little frustrated with these other alternate systems. I was like stuck in some weird loop. I forgot which payment thing it was, but it like logged me into the wrong email address and I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to log out of it. And I will use base pay if I ever see that on a website because it makes sense to me. I know where that money is coming from. I have that money in a wallet. If I get a 3% discount, that feels great. That feels like a huge advantage compared to a credit card system. And I also am just kind of grumpy with the amount of money that credit card transactions take on a daily basis. So I think that there's a big opportunity here. But I also do love the global impact. Like, yeah, it's just an easy thing for anyone around the world to use. And you don't have to worry about kind of the requirements that other payment systems or structures might use. I saw somebody, I reposted it from the base app, but somebody did like a showcase of all of the steps that have to happen for you to do a payment with regular rails and the very simple steps that you need for base pay. It's pay with base, the money comes from base, you're good to go. And that simplicity I think is very powerful.
I'm really curious what the response to that has been. I think, if you're managing or in the social channels, the social feeds, I'm sure you get to see the responses from a fairly diverse group of people. Like, are they excited about this? Are they paying attention to it? I could imagine this launching maybe 2 years ago and it really falling flat on its face for any number of technical reasons, and also maybe even just a general vibe around crypto. So I'm curious, what's the pulse on the internet and around base pay?
Yeah, like one simple metric is during a new day one, which is the event that we had last week where we unveiled a lot of different things. We clipped out a bunch of those kind of key moments from the keynote, and Alex from Shopify talking about base pay was far and away one of the biggest highlights that was reshared the most. And I think that shows, one, an appetite for this sort of thing, but also two, a real desire to see these things that we care about in the crypto space being taken seriously by the larger tech world. And I think seeing Shopify on stage at Base's event talking about the power of base pay is a really good indicator for what's to come and what sort of integrations everyone hopes to see from these bigger orgs like Shopify.
The Jess held it up earlier, but that base Erewhon drink was all over the timeline. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about how that partnership came about and if it's a sign of things to come.
Totally got my base Erewhon hat here. And for the non-LA heads in the stream, Erewhon is this very well-known establishment in LA. It's just a grocery store, but it's a lot more than a grocery store. It's a cultural icon in its own right. It's a great place to go and like people watch. There's a lot of very fun people watching to be had at Erewhon. And yeah, we did this amazing partnership with them where we created a juice, a special base blue juice, which if anyone, I saw a lot of people asking, what is the flavor of base juice? The answer is a really good lemonade. So if you were curious and you couldn't have it in LA, that's what it tasted like.
It was good.
And it was good. Yeah, thank you. I helped, do the little taste test of making it
Let's go.
just right. Also, just the right shade of blue. It's very important. The reason why I think that partnership was really great is, as I mentioned, I think it's important to continue onboarding more people into this space. And the Base app is, in my opinion, a really great onboarding experience. It feels a lot less scary than a lot of the crypto apps that exist. And at Erewhon, we were giving out all of these base juices if you were to download the app. And we had this very simple pitch. Jesse just posted a video on his X yesterday of him kind of going around and asking people if they wanted a juice to download a social network. And the amount of people that said yes is very high because downloading a social network is not a scary thing for most people. And getting a bunch of LA influencers to download a crypto social network, I think, is a very high value thing to do. And I've seen a lot of really great posts come from people who downloaded the app at Erewhon. So I think that's really great. Yeah, I hope that we do more things like this where we find people where they are and we give them an opportunity to get onboarded into a social network that pays them. I think that's really important.
So that's really interesting to me, because one of the things that I'm really, I guess, intrigued by is the use of on-chain in Base's marketing. I think we're at the event. It was everything, create on-chain, yada yada, right? And to me, on-chain feels very much like a feature, and it feels like something that most people don't understand why or what. And I had a bunch of conversations with some creators at the event, and even listening to this sort of, I think, the juxtaposition maybe between Jesse running around and trying to get somebody to get on chain, and here's $10 versus here's an Erewhon if you download a social network,
Sure.
are two very different approaches. So I'm curious, I mean, is on-chain getting in the way of like, as like a core marketing message and Base, getting in the way of the ultimate goal you're having here, or am I missing something?
That's a great question. I think that the more complexity you add to this conversation, the more difficult it is to understand. I think one thing I would say anecdotally is that a conversation that will stick in my mind forever at Erewhon was one of the guys who was handing out the juice asking somebody, "Hey, are you an influencer?" They look like an influencer. "Hey, are you an influencer?" The person said, "Yes." "Do you have a big following on social media?" The person said, "Yes." And then we said, "Well, do you get paid for that?" And they said, "Well, I'm from Canada, so definitely not," because the creator program on TikTok just straight up does not work in Canada. And so even though she's built this huge following on TikTok, she can't monetize that following. So then saying, "Oh, well, here, do you want to download this social network where you get paid? There's no global restrictions." "Yeah, sure." And she downloaded it immediately. And so, was on-chain a part of that conversation? Not necessarily, but I think that the next follow-up line is, "Well, wait, why can I get paid here? Like, what's the difference between this and TikTok?" And the answer is, "Oh, well, this is an on-chain social network. This isn't a centralized system like you're typically used to. You really have control over your following." And so I think that we'll see it move from like a primary thing to communicate, "This is on-chain," to a bit of a secondary thing to communicate, "This is a social network that you get paid and it's on-chain." But I think that it's really, I very much believe it's important, because otherwise people's minds kind of go to, "Oh, well, this just must be some new like social network that's really trying to juice its numbers, and maybe these things will all go away eventually." But the answer is they won't go away. This is a core feature of how this works, and being on chain is the differentiator from what you're accustomed to.
The big news for Base the past couple weeks has obviously been the Base app. I'm curious how many people are using it, and is the audience for the Base app crypto natives and people we might be familiar with from crypto Twitter, or is there ultimately an ambition to transition the Coinbase regular users into becoming Base app users as well?
Totally. That's a great question. I actually don't know the amount of users that are on the base app. When I go and look at the feed, it's quite high. And also, there's this great advantage of it being built on Farcaster. So as soon as you go into the base app, you're seeing a lot of posts that are coming not only from the base app, but also from Farcaster, which I think is great. I love that optionality. However, I've seen a lot of brand new posts. I've seen a lot of new accounts being spun up and trying things for the first time. And then I've seen them say, "Wow, this is really cool that I just got paid. There's money in my wallet from this post that I just made." I think if I were like, as I've been onboarding people, I've been encouraging them like, "Hey, if you've made videos on TikTok, you should start porting them over to the base app and see how they perform. Hey, if you're good at making videos, I've noticed that videos are like doing really well. You should try to make some videos. You should see how that goes." However, the base app is already downloaded on many people's phones, formerly known as Coinbase Wallet, RIP. And I think we'll see those people start to come over as well once this app is in full release. And of course, right now it's in beta. We're being very like intentional about the rollout. And personally, I think that we have to be more intentional about the changes for people who are already deep in crypto, because you have these set notions of, "Well, how can I import my wallet? And I already have this, and I want to make sure that this gets ported over." Where if you're a net new user, you're like, "Great, okay, cool. I'm just going to go through the flow as if I've never done this before." It's much, much easier. So as we continue building it out and figure out the pain points, we'll be able to bring all of those people who already have this deep background with Coinbase Wallet into the base app as well.
So Raz, who's the founder of sort of guild.xyz is one of he's the main character in my mind on crypto Twitter around early adoption.
Sure.
And he's talking about the Zora app today, but I think it falls true. I've seen a lot of mentioned the same. He says, please don't ever pivot again, Jacob. I want to enjoy this for a long time. The dopamine rush on Zora is real. Recommend. And I think there is sort of, I think I was I don't know. I had an open mind for the base app, but there is something about the dopamine notifications and the way that sort of the payments hit, even from posting content, that I think is, I mean, being misunderstood by many people, or maybe undervalued by many people. So I think that is, I don't know, super interesting. And Raz is a guy that I'm like, you just watch what he does. Where's he spending his time? Because he's been pretty good with this early adoption thing.
Yeah, I will say, and that dopamine hit typically on other platforms comes from views. Wow, this video is popping off. I got a lot of views, but you can't monetize it. I had a video go viral 2-3 years ago now, maybe longer, and it got 10 million views on TikTok. But because that was the first video that went viral on TikTok for my account, there was $0 that went into my bank account from that account, because I could, after that video went viral, click and say I'd like to join the creator program, but it's not going to retroactively count those views that I got on the video. And you may be surprised to hear I have not again got 10 million views on a video since
Shocking.
That thing went viral.
Can't believe it.
But as Raz mentioned with Zora, with Base App, with these things, the first time that you pop off, that is not only views and attention, it is money. And I think that's a really powerful differentiator that is really important to share with a wider audience, because it matters. Like when that video got 10 million views, there were ads running against that video, but the money wasn't coming to me. And when a post goes viral on Zora or the Base App, that money is going to you. And I think that's really important for creators.
That language right there seems to be the center of some debate on the timeline these days, right? Where this idea of like, it's the what is money conversation,
Sure.
right? So the value represented in the app, and sort of whether that value is something like USDC, or it is the value of a token that I have launched, I think is a meaningful difference. But I'm curious how you see that. Like the critique right now is that creators aren't getting paid; they're earning a token that they have to then dump on their users to be able to get it. And I think Jesse jumped in and said, "Well, take a long-term view of this. Like the compounding effects of this value over time is going to be much larger than maybe your 50 cents or $1 that you might get by dumping some of your token today." I'm just curious how you see that conversation.
Totally, yeah. And to clarify, like there are two ways that you can earn money. You earn money by the fees that creators earn via trading, and then you can also earn money by the token that you accrue. And the fees that you earn by trading are in ETH. I think they'll be in USDC soon. That's just ETH, that's in your wallet. So there's nothing there that you would have to like dump on your audience to take that money. The actual token is a little more challenging, but in my opinion, I think that it makes a lot of sense to keep it and watch it continue growing in value as you like watch that token go up. I think a lot of people I don't find that to be a challenging conversation to have with non-crypto natives. I think that people kind of get it. Like, oh, okay, there's this token. The token's going to go up and down. This is this kind of volatile, interesting thing. Wow, it's just cool to see that people believe in me. And then also, oh, there's just this like literal ETH in my wallet right now, or USDC, that I can spend if I want to. It is more for people who have an understanding of tokens, tokenomics, have thought about these things, have opinions about how it should work, that are more critical or more cautious about it. But I think that we need to continue this experiment and see how things go. I personally think that the fact that creators earn from trading via some ETH and USDC is a big deal in its own right. I've known a lot of creators who have made a decent amount of money that way, much more than they would have earned on TikTok or YouTube or X. And I think that's really powerful.
Before we let you go, I want to just touch base on Nouns Coffee, because that's
Sure.
an intrigue of mine for a long time. You put up a proposal a while ago, and I think I know the act of building anything IRL must be far more complicated than most people on the internet think. But my understanding is that you guys are open and live and about ready for some big stuff. So catch us up.
Totally, yeah. So the short story, which is a very long story, is we put this proposal on chain a couple of years ago to take over an existing coffee shop in Marina del Rey. That's very important because just like permitting will stick you into processes that you don't want to be stuck in. If anyone's ever built out a physical business, you know. And then along the way, we had some issues. The deal actually kind of fell off the table for a little bit. We were looking for new locations. Then the deal went back on the table, and we went right back to the original spot that we proposed. We're in it currently, and we're going to have a full open next month. But right now we're soft open. We're serving drinks on our patio. We're getting to know the neighbors. There's been a surprising amount of people that like live in the neighborhood that are like, oh, Nouns Now, are you part of that? I'm like, how many people in Marina Del Rey know about Nouns Now? This is really wild. But it's very, very cool. And yeah, I'm excited to use this as an opportunity to bring more people into the space. We're definitely going to take crypto payments. We'll use base pay in our shop. I actually haven't used it yet, but I saw that there's now like a tap to pay version of base pay that's being tested. I'm very excited about that because like scanning QR codes and signing transactions is again one of those too many step flows that we currently have. But it's really, really great. So we'll use it as a space to bring people into the ecosystem. We'll also just serve some really good coffee, and we have some fun ideas about how to get people into Nouns DAO via this coffee shop as well. So we're super excited to it's a labor of love. We've been in this project now for like 2 years, and it's really exciting to see people come up to the front door and buy a coffee.
It's good coffee. I can vouch for the coffee.
It's
you
good
trust
coffee.
these Derek and Drew with your coffee. You will not be led astray. That's for sure.
We'll have some beans on our site noun.coffee soon. We're integrating base pay right now. So very soon you'll be able to buy some beans and get them shipped wherever you are using base pay. So got a dog food.
Amazing. Drew, thanks for hopping on with us today, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.